helps.
I don't know what the mic is, but we'll see if it picks it up.
Okay, I call the Thursday, June 19th, 2025, ARSA meeting to order. Let's do the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is our public forum. Not on Zoom, and there's no one from the public, so we'll go into the consent agenda. Any questions or comments in regards to the consent agenda? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion to approve. In a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Then we'll go on to the administrative agenda. Tom?
Yeah, so this is the annual budget. Much simpler than the other budgets you guys look at. So the proposed budget is 973,000 a year. Expenses are also 973,000. The income is basically comes from Sutter Creek, Amador City, AWA. It's based on flows. We measure the flows for the previous year. We calculate a percentage, and we split the expenses by that percentage. This last year, both Amador City and AWA had decreases in their flows, so Sutter Creek's picking up a bigger portion of the budget this year.
Good timing for you, right?
Yeah. In terms of expenses, the biggest expenses.
Are our flows down?
No, they weren't. So I don't know if Mark's
What's
put in
going on?
low flow toilets or what happened. Something
Put a
else.
restrictor in the line,
Um,
or there's a break in the line. For years, just a quick story. For years, there was a big leak in the pond in Amador City. So a lot of it was never getting pumped.
Like
to
it's
Sutter
pretty
Creek.
sure.
It was just leaking into the creek. That's been correct.
Yeah, so Grant Reynolds does this every year. I asked him to check, so it's going to check everything.
Okay. Make sure everything's copacetic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to do another story, but my wife's grandmother grew up in downtown Amador City, and they used to flush the toilet upstairs, and then they'd run down and run around the house to watch it go out into the
Out
creek.
in the creek. Sutter Creek. That's what the flushing was for. Built that water.
Well, we can just get rid of ours, so go back to the good
Yeah.
old days.
Send it down the creek.
Well,
That's where it went.
yes, pretty much.
So, yeah, in terms of expenses, labor's a big one. It really varies, really weather dependent, whether we have to do a lot of land application or not. If we do, we're going 7 days a week with overtime. Operation costs, primarily fuel, repairs, maintenance, payments for 2IM from the tertiary treatment. One thing that's different is we used to pay for the permits and then bill IOM, and you'll see it change a little bit. So they're just deducting that from what they bill us. So we're not billing each other back and forth. They're just charging us less.
So that check I just signed for $42,000 to the board,
Yeah,
was that just our portion then of the
that's ARSA's
ARSA? Well,
treaty. Yeah.
when I signed it, I thought, oh, well, we're only liable for a portion of this. Apparently, I didn't know.
Right.
So how does that work, Tom? Because we're budgeting, half of what we did last year for tertiary treatment.
Right, because if you look at taxes, fees, and licenses, it's usually about $70,000. So
Rather than
We're
us
based-
fronting it, they're just going to be deducted.
right,
So
So,
We're still paying basically on tertiary fees are the same.
right, it's pretty flat, it's about 65,000 a year.
So as the council meeting there, Matt did mention all the upgrades and stuff they did to the church roof plan. They did make an indication that they're pursuing, I'm like, well, if you ask them ahead of time, you got somebody to tell them that out in Mike, but I was like, well, if you guys don't negotiate things, you probably had that conversation ahead of time. To the point of communicating about the system. And I was like, and I mean, I did tell them, I said, well, I expressed them, it's like, look, it's an ongoing complaint that we don't communicate well down here, up there about these specific issues. I want to make sure, at least on my end, trying to foster that a little bit. So.
Right, that's to sync up with this budget.
Right.
Well,
Well, that's the thing too, because they spent a bunch of money. They basically transferred money from their sewer fund into the tertiary fund. And it was like, well, we've had these conversations before about cost sharing and whatever else. It's something you have ahead of time before you spend them. And so I don't think there's any interest in chasing us around. But I just wanted to have that on the record. Well, you guys, it's like if these updates, well, we all can work together. Just want to make sure communication's going ahead of time instead of there.
yeah, and then on the capital projects, the big ones, the Henderson Dam.
Yeah.
We did do the flow meter this year, so that's why there's nothing going this year. We actually split the freshwater diversion, which is something we have to do to satisfy CDCR.
Yeah.
So
And is that operational now?
no,
Okay, that's what I thought.
so we ordered the parts, which was about 25,000. Still have the work to do. So that's about it. Guys have questions?
Has that flow meter been installed? Or is
I
that just?
believe it, yeah, it has. It replaced the old one.
What, until at this Monday's meeting, we're talking about another, is that different flow meters? Was that Preston? They want one at Preston or
The
something?
one at the 4-bay.
The Preston 4-bay, right.
Which I don't agree with, but they're being sticklers about it.
At the state or?
Yeah, the water board. So we're trying to get rid of weekend overtime.
Okay, yeah,
And we have to monitor the flows daily.
right.
So if we have a meter that records it, we can record it over the weekend, collect the data on Monday. But we don't, we have this small 4-bay, which just open the water flows through it. We don't have a meter there, so they're saying that we need to send somebody out there on Saturday and Sunday to look at it.
And I know the groundwater management group we're talking about is there's a variety of places they monitor there's large extends around the groundwater management. And I expressed them, there may be some interest in ARSA or having somebody down there too to talk about that. Because I think there's some opportunity, at least when it comes to direct discharge and those types of things, because the state's pretty keen on the groundwater recharge thing. And one of the ways that happens is through our waterways. It seems to me if you're putting water in the ground down the system, that might actually augment that. But I mean, I think it's a pretty good argument to be made that maybe, I just say that because, based on how the system goes, and then when they're taking us to take water out, it's put it in. I'm like, what is it, guys? You can't
Right.
have both. I mean, the regional water authority was saying, telling you to take it out, groundwater management saying, put it in. I'm like, well, where and when? I mean, I don't know what you guys are doing. I mean, we're stuck in the middle, being pulled to opposite directions. And to me, it just, rather have those bureaucracies fights and let us get stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah. So there is a flow meter at Henderson.
There's a meter at Henderson, there's a meter at the plant, and there's a meter at the Ione plant.
And why do we need a meter at Preston 4-bay?
They want one like.
How much is a meter?
Every reservoir, it's like 15, 20 grand.
It takes a lot of years to make it back.
Well,
Yeah.
over time, it's expensive.
Yeah, right.
That is the thing.
It is, but
Sure,
it's like a 2 or 3 year payback.
I just don't get, you want to, I mean,
It's
the
just
water
open,
goes from Henderson to
right?
the 4-bay.
Yeah.
Why do you gotta meter it again? Just, you want to.
Are they worried about leakage?
Worried about the differential between the two?
I mean, I think this guy Kenny, he was pretty good, he wasn't pushing us. He left, and his boss was a little less connected, and he's just following the rules. I'm gonna talk to him.
Does he understand that it's not there's no valve there, right?
There is a valve there.
But it just flows
We
through.
just leave it open, yeah.
Are they worried about leakage or like evaporation?
It's just part of the
I
permit.
think they're worried
says-
because it's on this, because it's a rule that.
There's a rule. We're
It's
worried
a
about
rule on
rules.
the permit.
They always worried about rules. Well, they're always worried about rules when they're worried about them, but now they're not worried about that. Today's that day.
The only thing, and Tom explained it, the difference in the charges to Amador City, the water agency in Sutter Creek. It's 12% more for Amador City this year, 8% more for water agency, and 27% more for Sutter Creek. Which I was hoping was just unfair math, but I guess that is because of our flows, so maybe make sure we check that.
Was Sutter Creek
Pretty
represented
dramatic.
when they were checking the flows?
We did.
Sounds like Amador City and the water agency went out and checked it.
Yeah.
I'll write that down.
You took extra showers that day.
Yeah, Larry, the water agencies good with the budget too.
In Amador City,
Haven't gotten a response from them, but it's pretty,
I think that's a
Normal
lot
for them.
less of an increase than they were scared of.
right. So if you guys would like a motion to pass the budget, you guys have any questions?
I'll move to approve.
I'll say.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 24-25 budget. All those in favor, signify by saying, I guess this is 25-26.
Oh, yeah.
So 25-26. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. While I'm thinking about it, make sure you make a note that Bruce Cheryl.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, okay. Let's move on.
Yeah. Also, I mean, there were two reasons I really wanted, well, all these were important today. I didn't know what was going on with Castle Oaks, and we scheduled this before it got turned back on. This is passed out an update that has a week more data than what was in the packet. It's pretty fresh. And I also talked to Justin, the operator down in Ione. He's running pretty much full bore. You can see about 1.2 million gallons a day. And based on the water that we have in Henderson and Preston, I think we have about 48 days before we'll empty it out and be able to get to the construction project.
Is that enough time or close? Kind of close?
Yeah, it is. It pushed us back about a month. I thank everybody for those letters. That all helped.
Oh, I think it does. I want one thing with that too. There is an interested party looking at buying the golf course, which I think they're still in negotiations. They're trying to get the water contracts and stuff somewhat secured. And I don't think they've had any conversations with any of their entities involved. It's just they're negotiating with the city, which.
Well, I asked George how much he's going to charge for water, and he said, it sounded like they hadn't even talked about it yet.
Yeah.
So I think it's a key part.
Well, I'm just reading the tea leaves. I'm not sure because the golf course is in rough shape because it's full time 22 issue, right? And when the presumed buyer, it was obviously it's not officially, they're doing due diligence right now. He stated publicly that they're going to bring in some like $750,000 worth of equipment. They're going to go do all the greens and all the driving areas. And so I don't know if that will disrupt disposal or not. I don't know, what the timing of that we would do all at once, or they do one at a time, or I mean, this could be a little disruptive as far as irrigation goes. I'm just pointing that out.
Did I misunderstand you when you said that who was the buyer?
I have the name
Okay,
somewhere.
It's the same ones that have
Lock and Tenant, correct,
and,
yes.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, they manage, I think about 7, 8, 10 golf courses in the region. They seem to know what they're doing.
We'll
They're
take
just
the
in
next month
management,
and a half.
but they own the golf courses that they manage or?
No, well, it depends on the situation, because all of the fairways, all the greens, all that is owned by the city and I,
I see.
correct?
Okay,
And then, so that would be leased from the city. And then the golf house and the clubhouse, that's all owned by Han.
and that's what he's selling to those.
Right, it's just kind of weird thing, is they're negotiating to buy
It
a
is.
piece and then lease the golf course, but I don't know where that's at right now.
Is the Title 22, it wasn't a final approval, it
temporary.
was temporary, right?
Correct.
So,
That's for this year.
There's another little snafu, not on that piece that's L22, but apparently they got a L22 a permit to discharge out of the mine for what reason. I'm not deep enough into the hole to figure out what in the world's going on, but the state didn't have any paperwork on it. They approved it for whatever reason. And I don't know, one of the council members or two, I don't know either, people are making all kinds of accusations, went down there and said, we didn't approve any of this. What are you doing? And then, so they pulled that permit, but that won't affect us. It's on the mining. I don't know enough about it to really speak.
That's the city. That's
What
the
did you say the
city's.
mine was purchasing?
Well, they were trying to get the permission to dispose of some of the wastewater, and
It was the backwash.
yeah, well,
The
I'm not sure if it's
AWA
just a backflush or they're wanting to buy unused water from the island plant. It's what it sounded like to me. If I was hearing Justin correctly, is that they're hoping to be able to get rid of any excess water that we cannot dispose of legally on the ag fields. Because there is some residual water there. So I
That
don't,
was the back, according to the former engineer, the water agency, it was,
that's piece number 3, I think. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I know, and that again,
but the pipe's not even in, so that's like
Right.
a long ways away.
well, yeah, they don't have all the easements and all the right of ways, a whole bunch of stuff. It's a lot of moving parts.
But they have a Title 22 and
No,
nothing else.
they don't.
Yeah.
But they don't. They did have one for some piece of it without, I don't even know what they're doing. I'm just confused as anything. And I was like, listen to the conversation. But to this point here, where they do have the Title 20, it's temporarily approved. And now we're just kind of waiting on final approval from the state, I guess, where it's at now. So,
So again, the golf course, I think they've been paying $70,000 a
Yes, that's
year
correct.
forever since Portlock owned it. And so again, I think upping those rates, I'm gonna meet with George soon, but
They
we're talking to
they
him.
were paying more than 70,000 prior to that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think-
I can't remember what it's changed.
I mean, I hope Ion would get a kind of market rate price, because it's not.
well, that's what they had before. That's why 70,000 was that. That was the
It's not really
estimated.
enhanced like transactions since they own the golf course.
Correct.
Right, they want the water to go there.
Yeah, well, before raw water was cheap, and so they were estimating that was $70,000 about it would cost them raw water to irrigate the entire golf course. Well, I mean, I know Howard Park was about, there was like 40,000 a year or some. All I know is that when we took that line you're talking about rebuilding, we built AWA built a trunk line out there, and our bill went from like 5,000 to 40,000, some crazy number. That's when they discovered that 1,000,000-gallon leak and that the AWA was on their side. So it's a little bit of history stuff, but they went in, replaced the
Is there raw
line.
water available for the golf
Well,
course?
no, it's not piped out. That's the thing. So raw water really is available. There was a theory they could run it down from the state property down to town. And that was estimated, the raw water cost at 70,000, that number was arrived at, from my understanding.
Yeah.
So,
So anyway, it's just something.
but now raw water and treated water, same amount, so it doesn't matter, that's the thing, so.
So end of the day, I think we're in good shape. I think we've got at least a month and a half for, even if they did sell the golf course, I think we'll get our water out.
And so operationally, so I'm on this for my education, I guess. So how is that gonna work? Are we gonna try to drain water up from higher up into Henderson, or are we just gonna stop putting water into it? And then.
No, we have to drain Henderson.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So the objective now is just to shut water off coming into Henderson and just get that system. drained.
Yeah, I mean, there's no water.
Typically in the summer, most of it goes on to Valley.
Right.
Almost all of our goes to Valley. Above him.
Right, correct.
So, but there's gotta be some little tail water.
That's what I was asking. That's what I was wondering. Yeah. How's Bowers gonna handle all that?
Jesus.
Something perfect. Okay, so then they're just gonna run the water down to Preston and then shut it off whenever it's like 50 acre feet, I guess.
Well, I mean, again, Justin sounds like he's gonna keep taking it, so.
Right.
We'll probably try to empty both of them.
And so then when I'm just curious, because I know we have 45, 50 acre feet of water, that's when Preston starts really getting getting.
That's on
Yeah.
there.
So we have about 80 acre feet of dead pan,
So Preston, yeah.
30 in Henderson and 50 in Preston.
Would that be a good time to assess how much stuff to actually in Preston or no?
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, we don't have any funds to do anything.
Right, I
It's
know.
really expensive.
I know, yeah. I'm not aware. I know we got rid of some, it was super fun.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't put it on dry ground, make sure you put a membrane underneath it.
Okay. Yeah, so that was really an update item to lead into the next one, and I can just keep going maybe. So originally, I mean, this has really changed this week, and we were being told that it was kind of highly likely that we could get a grant for Henderson. And with delay, I wanted to have this meeting to talk to you guys about potentially doing Henderson next year.
It's a quandary.
Was that,
It's a quandary.
well,
It's a difficult choice.
Well, or
So-
it's not.
Or not.
so we've been using this grant writing firm. We had a call with DW, SRF, and it turned out that we're probably not eligible for this grant. They've been scrambling to look for other things. So I think we kind of got an answer this week.
Mm.
I feel a lot
After this
less,
was written.
yeah,
Okay.
I feel a lot less confident that
Okay.
we may get money. So my recommendation is we just go ahead and do the construction this year. They're still looking, but
Well, there's plenty of projects.
yeah, most dams are
Try to
freshwater
apply for it
dams.
next year.
I think they got confused because it was a wastewater
Oh,
dam.
no.
So we started pushing on it and they looked at some wastewater grants. So we're probably not gonna get that. But now they're talking to the Federal Bureau of Reclamation, but like I said, it feels a lot less certain, so.
If we move forward with doing it this year, is there an off ramp if something comes together on this grant side that we can, or,
Yeah, be honest, I don't think so.
okay,
Jeff's saying we can get it done in 3 days. You guys can order all the stuff from the start. And most of these grants, they won't pay you for if you've already done.
Yeah.
So,
The costs don't go down.
what about
We-
the freshwater diversion, is that eligible? Maybe,
we can look for that. That's a lot less money.
yeah, it's a lot less money, but it would be something, and it's freshwater, not.
Yeah,
Does this company operate off of? Are we paying them to go not find grants or do they get a
The
portion?
city is not our set of.
yeah.
No, I-
No, I'm just wondering, like,
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
do they get a cut if they get the grant or do we pay them to go look for the grant and then accidentally not recognize that
We
it's
only pay them if we
their own kind of thing?
do the grant,
Okay.
Yeah, I only spend a bunch of money not getting any grants.
right? Yeah, so again, I feel like I've been talking to the CEO of this company, so it's kind of pissed off. I think we had a junior person that's kind of taken off the account, so.
Hmm.
Well, there's plenty of projects to freshwater or something else that we can continue to apply for.
Mhm.
You know, if this one doesn't pan out, but
Well, I was,
the timing is, sorry,
go ahead.
the timing's still pretty sketch.
No, I mean,
Well, except it's fine if Jeff can get the materials he orders, but we still don't have CDCR approval. So if that
That's
takes
correct.
another month,
we're pushing them, they have everything.
Why would they not approve?
I don't think, I met with them on Monday. I didn't bring this topic up. I wasn't aware of this piece of it. But they were abundantly clear, very amenable to helping us out wherever they can. They were very, very clear about that. I asked them about some of their public, they just said, look, we're not putting stuff out because every time we do, we just get chewed up for it. To the paper, council members, especially, and I know they're just not worth them to do anything. He said, but we're here to work with you guys with what projects you have. Just let us know. I talked to Lisa and Anthony Ortega. He's the operator. Lisa's the head of him, but I would just contact them directly. And I would have got a business card, but they don't have any money for the meter. So,
Yeah, so it's,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah, but it's the
Probably something higher.
clients, yeah, they're in Sacramento.
Yeah.
They've had it for 6 weeks. They
Okay.
gave us a small list of questions, which we need to answer. So I think we'll be fine there, but that is the last hurdle.
so Jeff won't order materials till we get that.
No, he's ready. And so we have to sign the contract for July 1st, to keep the bid. So again, I think we should go for it. We
You're not-
got a good price.
Yeah, I know, I was leaning that way, I mean, renting is attractive, but, what if we have a real wet winter, and then we're right back where we started from?
And everything will cost more next
And
year.
then it'll cost-
Sounds like it needs to be done, but with acknowledgement that it's still a little tight.
What are the punitive consequences if we were to have waited and then we have a big wet winter. It's,
Then we could be looking out two years, rather.
A couple of things.
Or
we're gonna-
you could have 3 wet winters in a row.
Right. Well, another thing, you're going to bid it out again, so it costs a bunch more money, probably
Right.
some
You gotta
refreshing of
go
the
through the bid
contract,
process.
refreshing of the goal.
Well, and it was court ordered, you can only hunt so long.
Oh, it's been on,
Yeah.
that dam repair has been on the books since I got on the council.
And the county did send our letter to dam safety. You do that or not? That letter was county road, we sent it to dam safety as well, letting them know that we need your help getting this
Oh, okay.
call 22 thing done. So, again, I don't know what pushed it over the edge, but it was up in the next step.
Helps a lot.
So they're gonna be on site when we do the work. Folks.
I said that in the middle of the meeting, I said, yeah, the dam safety, they said, what did you say? I said,
Yeah.
It's just the one, okay, we're not talking. You got the nice little side eye.
I've always thought that they got the order wrong.
It's safety.
So, I mean, basically, I think you guys have already approved the plan, it's kind of standard course. So.
I think we got an opportunity as it gets close, but I think we need to make every effort we can just to make sure it gets done. It's been sitting around for how long? 15,
12 years.
12 years at least, yeah. It was on,
14 years, I would say. I'm sure it was on.
no, it was, I
As soon
was
as I got on the ARSA board,
Yeah.
that was
in the audience.
very deal. We got this damn thing.
seems
Do you
like
need a motion?
I don't think so.
It's already there.
And the only other thing I have on the general manager's report, we're still working on this water balance thing. They just called me in early August. We're pretty much ready. IO, ARSA and CDCR have been meeting kind of every other week. So work's pretty much done.
And if you could just keep the board informed, maybe, I don't want to be like weekly, but it might need to be weekly for as the dam levels and they projected emptying, that would be great, just to kind of keep, I would feel more comfortable with that. This would be,
Yeah.
It'd be every week, but it's
If anything goes wrong, I'll definitely let you guys know. Otherwise, it's going full bore.
You just, yeah, no, that's a million gallons of water, it's quite a bit coming out of there, so. And I guess that pipe will handle it, it'll run down there, 1 million gallons, is that?
We're not spraying it off, we're just doing
We're doing
hours.
Which still needs to be checked.
And stop the inflow and maximize the outflow.
And where's Bowers Hill, or where that at?
Goes back in Henderson. It's
That's what I
just
thought.
above Henderson.
Which is,
I guess they're gonna have to build some sort of copper dam around that base of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go over the reclaiming, and they go, we have that, the fields are an ion, we have almost zero runoff, we still have to put them in. And during heavy rains, it's diluted enough to not matter, but they didn't care at all, like, spend over $100,000 to build a reclaim ditch thing. So the pump system basically, it's, grabs the water, and throws it back in the pump.
That it then?
so that's it.
Okay.
Item 7.
Your favorite one.
Item 7, you like that? Okay. Is that a motion?
I have a motion to move to item 7.
All right, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.